What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're gonna be scrapping this Mustang body, and I'm gonna tell you guys why. This car was actually spliced right here. There's a weld seam right here that I guess they spliced two cars together back in the day. I'm not sure when this happened. And we also noticed there's a splice seam right here which was welded pretty bad. I thought it was just the outer panel, but once we looked into it closely, this car was spliced in right here somewhere just like that. So the entire front of this car was basically welded together pretty bad too. If you notice on the other side, the welds are pretty bad and it was just unsafe. And we were planning on using it, but we did get hooked up by one of our good friends, Nick's Garage. He actually hooked us up with all the parts we need to build a brand new Mustang. So if you're ever in the market for some Mustang parts, hit up Nick's Garage. I'll drop all his info down below. He helped us out. He showed us exactly what we're gonna need, and we got everything ordered. This is all the parts we need to build a brand new car. Let's go ahead and get this old Mustang off the lift. We're gonna start with just disassembling it. We need to get the fenders off and then basically cut this bar off right here. And what I'm thinking we're gonna do is actually cut the roof right here and then cut the quarter panel off and hang it on the wall. It'd probably be some pretty cool art, but let's go ahead and start taking everything off the lift. So we got the entire body off the car, and it's pretty cool to see everything how it is like this. And it kind of sucks, we did put a lot of work in that body, but the only way to move forward is to just get all new parts, build this car right, because we're trying to get this thing done. I know you guys are kind of getting sick and tired of just seeing this Mustang not being built, but we're gonna do it. So now let's go ahead and start unpackaging these parts and build a brand new car. So we're gonna start off with this big box right here. I'm pretty sure this is both of the side structural pieces, so let's go ahead and open it up. So we got all the Mustang parts unpackaged. Here are basically the entire side panels. This is a fastback now because we were planning on doing the notchback, but we couldn't get the new notchback panels. I don't know why they don't make them brand new, but we have this side right here, and then we have that side. Now what we're gonna do is actually go ahead and start reassembling the entire car. Basically gonna have a brand new car sitting on this lift, so let's get started. So before we start putting all these panels on the lift, we're actually gonna take off this bar right here because we do know exactly how we're gonna do it. We're gonna have to put it back on the tube bender and bend this bar directly into here, and that's gonna be welded right there. So let's go ahead and get this side off and that side. So now that we have everything off the front end, we're gonna start with our main pieces. These are our A-pillar sections along with our wheel wells and the rockers. We're gonna start with these pieces and we're gonna move on forward. So we got a majority of the car put together. Now what we're gonna do is actually bend the tube and get this front end back together. As you guys know, we did take off this front suspension because the tube that was running like this needs to be bent into this one. So let's go ahead and bend that tube and get both of these shock towers back on here. So we got these tubes on here, and we did have to rebend them and build some new ones because we are actually not going to be splitting this car down the center. We're going to leave it the stock width, and that's just going to save us a lot of time, like on the window and all the other body panels. But now what we're going to do is start working on the shock tower. We are actually getting rid of these shock tower buckets because everybody in the comment section said this was going to be really weak, and you guys are the professionals, so we're going to go ahead and listen to you. And here we have the new plates. We're going to use some pretty nice thick metal, and we're going to drill some holes in there and weld it onto here just like that. You can drill some holes on it, put it down, and it's gonna weld onto this. So let's go ahead and start trimming this up. We're gonna get the plasma cutter out. We have to drill a hole right here in the center for here, and then we'll also drill 3 holes in here and get this mounted on here. So check that out, guys. We got the first bracket made, and it's gonna weld onto here, and I'm pretty sure we're actually gonna put bolts right here too, probably 2 nice bolts, and weld it just for extra strength. Now what we need to do is basically replicate this onto the other side. So before we start building the actual shock tower, I want to go ahead and weld these tubes in on both sides. Make sure all that's welded, and then we'll start building the actual tower that goes down to the frame rail. So we got everything nice and cleaned up, everything lines up beautifully. Now what we're gonna do is go ahead and start welding it. So now what we're gonna do is start building this shock tower right here. We did kind of just put this piece of sheet metal right here just as mock-up, and we put the suspension on and everything works exactly how it's supposed to. So now what we're gonna do is actually grab another tube, and it's gonna come out of this hole and come into here. So let's go ahead and get the tubes, get them cut, and get them welded in. So we got everything nice and welded up. Now what we're gonna do is start mocking up our actual shock tower. We have a top hat right here. We're gonna slide this on just like that. And it's just really weird how this shock actually goes at a really angle, so it's kind of bad. But we're gonna try to work around that. Let's get this top hat on, and I wanna clamp it, and then we have this jack underneath the suspension, and I wanna see exactly how it's gonna articulate, make sure it goes up and down properly. Let's get this in here. All right, so we have the top hat on and we have this jack underneath. Now let's see how it's gonna work. And just like that, it's gonna go up and down. Thing is looking pretty good. I think that's gonna do. So we got both sides mocked up. We're still not gonna weld any of this. We still have a lot more fabricating to do. But we're gonna take a break from this and actually move on to the back because we don't really wanna get burned out. We've already basically welded in most of the tubes here. We got these tubes and the tube that goes all the way around. So the engine bay is almost complete up here. Now we're actually gonna move on to the back and start making the brackets for the rear subframe. So now we're gonna start working in the rear right here. We do have our brackets that we cut out in the last video. And what we're gonna do here is one's gonna go underneath and then one's gonna go on top. And then we have this nice solid 1.5 inch DOM tubing, which is gonna slide perfectly through here. And then we also have our bolts right here. These are some of the strongest bolts you can get. So we're gonna use these right here. There are an Allen head, but that'll work. And then this is gonna simply slide in through there. And then we have some nuts. So let's go ahead and cut this bar right here to length and then start mocking everything up. So we actually had to drill out the hole because this bolt wouldn't fit in here and we couldn't find any other bolts, and these are the strongest bolts out there. So let's go ahead and get these mocked up on the subframe. So we have both of the brackets on, and we also went ahead and put this clamp just to kind of secure the subframe to the frame rails, and everything is lined up pretty good. We aren't going to be welding anything yet because we want to make sure the wheelbase is proper, and we have to get this suspension perfectly in the center of the frame rails so that we have perfect alignment from front to rear. And we are also going to be putting another cross member right here, so that's going to be nice and strong once we weld everything up. And then we're going to box all this up, do a lot of welding, make it nice and strong. And I think that's going to be more than enough to secure the subframe so nothing moves or shifts when we're driving the car. And when we are going to be doing the roll cage, we probably will come off probably either this plate or another plate around this area, and then we'll go up, so it'll be really nice and strong. But that's gonna be it in the back. So now that we have the rear all nice and secured, the frame rails are holding up the subframe, which is awesome. This car is almost a rolling chassis, and we did have to do a lot of work on this. We actually redid all of these tubes, and trust me, that took a long time just to try to get everything perfect. Some of it wasn't lining up, I had to redo it, but that's okay. Now what we're gonna do is kind of put the front end together, because I want to see exactly how far the wheelbase is off. Because as you guys know, the 1966 Mustang is a little bit shorter, I think, than the newer Mustang. So we might have to do some adjusting with the wheelbase and then with the axle. So we're gonna go ahead and get the fenders on. Probably throw on some wheels that we have laying around over here. There's some pretty nice ones. So let's go ahead and do that. So we got everything on the car. We kind of just threw it together just to get a general idea of how everything is lining up, and everything is lining up really good actually. We do have the good clearances down here, which we are going to be doing a custom bumper and everything, and we will have to actually move the entire body back a couple of inches, because as you can see, this is not lining up really good. That's why we didn't weld any of the brackets yet for like the strut tower or the rear subframe, because the whole body got to come back around 2-3 inches. But we kind of just threw everything together for mock-up just so we don't have to redo anything. And inside it's also looking good. We are going to be doing a little bit of modification to the frame in the next video, and then we're going to try to connect the frame to the body and get this thing actually rolled off this lift, because it is kind of annoying on here. That's what we're going to be doing in the next video. And back here, we are going to be doing a slight wide body. I actually contacted a couple of guys. We're just going to do a little bit. So these rims are actually from a WRX. My brothers are actually building it on their channel. So if you guys want to check that out, it's Motorhead. I'll drop a link down below. A lot of you guys are asking. And let's go ahead and check out the car that they're building. So here's a WRX my brothers are building. If you guys like seeing wide body stuff, they're building it actually for a Marine. He's actually deployed all the way in Japan. It's pretty cool. They've already done the wide body on this side, and they did a Brembo conversion. But if you guys like that kind of stuff, go ahead and check out their channel. So that's gonna be a wrap for today's video. We got a lot of work done on this car. It's coming together. We got a whole new body. And make sure you guys check out our Instagram page, VTune. We actually post sneak peeks. We did post a little sneak peek of us actually getting the new body, so it's pretty cool. So go on there if you have an Instagram. And also go to vtune.com if you want to copy some merch. Thanks for watching.